Hey everybody, and welcome to This Woman Can, another great edition of This Woman Can. And I have a fabulous guest this week. My guest is Kaylan Bartholomew. She is an Integrative Nutrition Health Coach, a Hatha Yoga Instructor, and a Meditation and Mindfulness teacher who helps her clients make healthier choices for themselves and their families, creating a more balanced and joyful life. She does this by using holistic approaches, recognizing that real food and exercise are only a part of what brings us balance, and helps her clients explore all areas of their lives, that be love, relationships, career, money, spirituality, and the environment. But you could be asking, Janice, well, why is she on the program? This is what she does. Well, we're talking about her because before aligning her career for her passion, should I say, for health and wellness, Kaylan spent 20 years as a banker working in New York, Miami, and Trinidad and Tobago. So that's a huge pivot. And that's why we're talking to Kaylan today. Kaylan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Janice.
And I can see we're going to have an interesting conversation. That switch from banking through to health and wellness. So Tell us a little bit about your journey and where you got to where you are today.
All right. So, banking was one of the things that I'd wanted to do for a long time. I have a background I started my career as an accountant and as an auditor, actually auditing banks. And I thought banking was exciting. It was dynamic. It wasn't the same. So I was like, that is exactly what I want to do. And, as luck would have it, I actually got a green card in the lottery. I won a green card. I moved to the US and I decided to do my MBA. And coming out of my MBA, I got my first job on Wall Street in investment banking.
Wow.
So I was really excited about that opportunity. It was exactly what I was looking for. Lots of growth and development for me personally. And then the financial crisis hit in 2008. And the whole department was wiped off. But luckily, I used that time to move back to Trinidad. And I went straight back into banking here in Trinidad as well. So I just continued in my career in banking. I really love serving my clients, finding solutions. I love that every day wasn't quite the same. And it was all great until my life changed. I became a mother. So then my priorities shifted quite a bit. And it was really difficult for me to balance getting everything that I have to do done and taking care of a little baby, a toddler who wanted my time and my energy. And I just didn't have it with the demands I had at my job. So it started to take a toll on me on my health. So I started to, suffer from all sorts of health complications, acid reflux and high blood pressure and all sorts of things. And I realized, I got to a point where I realized, okay, this is just not going to work. Something's going to have to give. And so I just decided to step away from it. Not necessarily intending to go into entrepreneurship, but just, let me just take a break and let me figure out, let me find a solution to this problem because this is not sustainable. And in that break, I did all the things that I had wanted to do for a long time. I had wanted to do yoga teacher training because for me, yoga was the one thing that kept me sane throughout my hectic career up to that point. And so I just wanted to learn more about it. I really delved into my meditation practice. I got really fascinated about food and how changing my diet, I was able to heal myself of so many different conditions. And so in that space, I said, well, I'm already out of a job. Why don't I know there are other people like me who are struggling, with finding the right balance and figuring out how to, I knew what I should be doing, but figuring out how to make that work realistically with the lifestyle that I had. And so I said, let me try and see if I can help others do this. And if it doesn't work out, I could just find another job. Right. So I always knew in the back of my mind, I had that kind of in my back pocket, my experience and my education to go back into finance or banking.
Yeah.
But so that it's been 6 years now since I've been doing this. And it's really been very rewarding for me to help people along this path and to help people to know that I can make time for this self-care.
Yeah. A couple of things really stood out for me there when you were talking. The one thing I always tell women, I tell a lot of women, that when you're in a career or something that's not aligned with your values, as much as you are fighting it, your body has a way of telling you, the game is up. You know, you need to do something about this. I've experienced it. I've definitely experienced it. And so it's interesting to hear you talk about the fact that you were starting to have health concerns. To me, that's like a warning. It's definitely a warning sign in some aspects. And the other thing I liked, which I love, was when you said about if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. So, and for me, that's all about overcoming that fear of failure, because it's ingrained from us as culturally, it's ingrained in us to be a success. So how did you get that mindset of saying, well, look, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work, you know, that's the way it is. How did you get that mindset?
I guess I was pushed far enough where I knew what I was doing was not sustainable. It was not working for me, for my health. It was not working for my relationship with my daughter. It was not working for the sort of family life that I envisioned for myself. So I think I had just been pushed far enough. Now, you know, I make it sound like I just made that decision. It took a year of knowing this wasn't sustainable to actually making that step, because it never occurred to me that I could just walk away without having a plan. I always thought, well, I have to have a plan. I have to know what's next before I make that move. But I felt like I didn't even have the time to allow myself to figure out what that plan should be.
Right.
And so I really felt like I needed to give myself that time. And so what I did, I mean, my background is an accountant. I sat down one day and I did a budget. I said, okay, if we don't change anything in our lifestyle, how long can I take to figure this out that we can continue living? Right. And knowing that, yes, there were lots of things in my lifestyle I could cut back on if I needed to. And so I just wanted to kind of give myself that comfort to know that, you know, I have time and I have space to figure it out. And, you know, there's no deadline. Right. Other than being able to pay the bills. Right. I still had a mortgage to pay. So I still had to make sure that those things weren't adding to my stress.
Right.
And so I had to give myself that space. So I think is that knowing that, you know, I have the experience that there are other opportunities out there, and this is not the only opportunity.
And you say you didn't have a plan, and yes, you took a year, but in effect, you really did have a little bit of a plan, because you were wise enough to think, well, let me do a budget. And you know, it wasn't a fully fledged plan, or no, what is my next step? But it's the fact the plan was, well, look, I can't do this much longer. But I know I can't do this. I need to give myself some breathing space. So let me see financially, how long do I need? How long can I support myself if we do a little bit of change? That's a bit of a plan. It's the precursor. It's like the precursor to your main plan. So that's great. So Kaylan, throughout this journey now, you've been doing it 6 years, and you sound like you're very happy and you've been successful at it. You're really enjoying what you're doing. But what has been the greatest? What has been most unique about pivoting mid-career? What's been the most, you know, the challenges and things like that?
I would say the biggest challenge for me was a lot of my identity was tied up in my job and my title and my profession. So I kept telling myself, Kaylan, you're a banker. You're a banker. Why, you know, this is not what you are. This is not who you are.
Yeah.
So just because you are passionate about food and health and meditation and yoga, and you helped yourself, doesn't mean you can help others, right? So there was a lot of that language I was using for myself, like, who are you? Who do you think you are, right? Why do you think you can help people do this? So that, I think that was the biggest hurdle for me personally to overcome. And, if I had to do it all again, right, and I didn't see that as a hurdle, I think one of the things I would do differently for sure is being able to tap into my existing network. So because I was concerned about or worried about what other people would think, that other people would be thinking those same things, instead of using the network that I had already built, through my years in corporate, I just almost pretended that they didn't exist.
Wow.
And just started off on my own and just doing my own thing. And with a few close friends, of course. Not really leveraging the power of my network to really be able to do my work. So it took a little while for me to build up that confidence.
Right.
And experience that I felt, okay, let me start reaching out to some of the people that I know.
And you probably saw me light up a little bit then when you talked about identity, because I was saying to you off air that I'm writing something about the challenges that we face, especially Black women face mid-career. And that was one of the things I've been having quite a few in-depth discussions about, is how our identities often entwined in our role, and the fact that, and I also sometimes think that we don't always have control over what we choose to do, because one of the things I've been exploring is the fact that if you come from immigrant parents or migrant parents or whatever, our parents always want better for us.
Yes.
And they often measure their success on how successful their children are. So they direct them, encourage them, I'm being nice here, encourage them to go into careers that will be deemed as successful.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily what we choose to do. So I loved when you talked about the title, the job, and the profession. What's my identity outside of that? And I think so many of us definitely struggle with that. I've often shared the story that when I left my corporate role as CEO, when I was in the role, everybody knew me.
Right.
When I was outside of the role, Janice who? Literally, because again, it was about what I think the other thing was like, what purpose do you serve for people who want something for you? And I was comfortable knowing that I was leaving that behind, because that was actually quite painful, quite a pain to have that constant demand. So I hear that, and I'm talking too much here. So, so what would you say, Kaylan, has been your greatest achievement throughout in your new career, in your pivot?
To me, it's just getting it off the ground, really, right? Overcoming those thoughts I had about myself, overcoming, the thoughts I had about myself as an entrepreneur, really taking the steps to get the support. Because one of the things that I really missed in working was having a team of people that I bounce ideas off of, and so on. And so I kind of felt very alone in my journey in terms of building this thing up. And so I found a group of female entrepreneurs. So we have a little mastermind. So that has been really very valuable in my progress. And everybody's in a different industry, but we're all there to support and encourage each other. Right. Also connected with other health coaches, both locally and internationally. So just to kind of have that network of people, so that that you're not alone in the in the journey. And so for me, the biggest thing was really kind of getting it off, and also I would say running my first program. Because again, I started off, because I was hesitant, doing a lot of one-to-one coaching. Right?
Yes.
Just one person, and I could really delve deep, and I could see your results. And being able to open up and do my first group program, that was, that's something I still remember. I remember having everybody in the room and literally shaking before I launched the program. But it was really successful. And, people to this day who were in that first program tell me how much it changed and transformed their lives. And
Fabulous.
so, one of the things that has helped me to move past some of the fears and insecurities I have is really feeling a sense of responsibility and obligation to be able to share these tools and help others along the way. Because, honestly, I actually loved my job, but I didn't have the tools to be able to cope.
Right.
And had I known some of these skills, had I had a coach back then, I might have actually stayed in my job. Right. I might have
Yes. Yeah.
And so I feel like, once we learn these things, I can't keep this to myself. It's something that I have an obligation to help others along the way. And this can make a difference between somebody going along the path and eventually developing diabetes or a heart attack, right? Or a stroke, or somebody feeling really unhappy and unfulfilled in their life. And all they need is to learn a few breathing techniques to be able to calm themselves. The impact that I've seen in my clients in terms of their relationships, that is also profound, because as humans, that's really the most important things for us to be able to connect with others. And even in my own personal relationships, I've seen it.
Right.
And so it's really, I feel like, I have to take myself, kind of come outside of myself and say, this is not about me, right? This is about who needs to hear this message.
Right.
There's somebody who needs to be served by this, and that's what I'm here to do.
Okay. So you took the role of entrepreneurship, and I appreciate you wanted to change careers because it didn't fit. Banking didn't fit in where you were or aligned to what was important to you at that point. But why not go to work for somebody else in the health and wellness field as opposed to entrepreneurship? Because I can hear some women saying, look, entrepreneurship's not for me. I want to change career. All these women seem to be going to entrepreneurship, but I don't want to do that. So what made you choose that route as opposed to working for another organization in that field?
I think, well, in Trinidad right now, that role doesn't really exist. Right.
Okay.
It's very limited. Even health coaching, when I first started, a lot of my work was just educating people about health coaching. Right. Life coaching was now starting to become known. And, some people were getting business coaching and executive coaching. And so the whole concept of coaching as a whole is something that was not well known. It is something that to be honest, I'm still open to. I will work for an organization in the health and wellness field because for me, it's important to be aligned to the mission. Right. Because that's the thing that banking didn't give me. Right. I didn't feel like I was connected to the overall vision of what we were trying to do. And so I am open to that as a possibility in the future. But it was more or less because the opportunities didn't really exist here.
Right.
And I really started off to say, well, let's see if I could help one or two people, not necessarily feeling like I'm going to make a whole career out of this. And so now actually I'm doing a lot more work in terms of corporate wellness. And I think, again, my background in corporate has been really helpful. And COVID has been very helpful in that. So companies are now recognizing the value and how important it is that they have a responsibility to be able to support their employees during this time. And so you're seeing a lot more companies are open to those possibilities now.
Fabulous. So looking back at your decision, what regrets do you think you would have had if you didn't go for it?
Definitely, I would say the impact of my relationship with my daughter. So my daughter is now 11.
Okay.
And at the time I left my job, she was in preschool. And she would literally be begging me to come and pick her up from preschool.
Wow.
And I would be like, okay, mommy can't come today. Grandma is coming. Granddad is coming. Uncle is coming. Right. So it was everybody else, but I can't run away from my job and come and pick you up at 1:00 in the afternoon. That's just not happening. Right. And so being able to take this time So for her whole primary school education, I was there. I was there in school for school activities. I was there for school field trips. She just completed her secondary entrance assessment exam, which is the placement exam to go into secondary school. And I was there to be able to support her throughout that. Fabulous. And not just be physically there, not just to have the time, but also to have the presence of mind, right? To be able to really give her the quality time and attention that she needs.
Fabulous.
So for me, that is key, right? Because I made the time for her before. I came home from work in time to, give her dinner and read her story and put her to bed. But I was always in my mind rushing back to all the work that I had to do after you went to bed. Right? So asked to read another story. No, we can't read another story, right? That's our time limit is up because I know what else I had to do. So I wasn't fully present and engaged as a mother. And that was something that was one of the things that just didn't sit right with me because I expected more of myself. And I wanted to give her more, and I was not doing that. So I think had I not been able to take that time away, that's one thing I would definitely would have regretted.
Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. So throughout the transition, what do you think was the most difficult aspect of it, and what would have made that journey easier?
Absolutely, the mindset aspect of it for sure. But one of the things I would say made my journey a little bit easier was because I was doing the work in terms of my yoga teacher training and my meditation training, where I was doing a lot of introspection, right? Uncovering some of those aspects of myself that I didn't like as much, but also uncovering my strengths, and being able to recognize those and play to those. And so I think that definitely helped me along the journey because I was doing that work. And one of the things that's really important for me as a coach, but also as a mindfulness practitioner, is to be able to walk the talk, right? I can't be giving my clients this advice and not doing it myself. And not to say that I'm perfect all the time, but it's important for me to always be doing the work. It's important for me that self-care is prioritized. It's important for me that I'm still cooking healthy meals and making that happen, even the times where things get busy or I'm dealing with a personal challenge, and I still find a way to make those things happen. And so that work of uncovering who you are and journaling and staying with those difficult emotions, all of those things kind of helped me to deal with those mindset challenges when the imposter syndrome arose and those fears pop up in my head.
Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. So Kay, if you had to start over again from scratch, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
That's a great question. I would say definitely figuring out who I am.
Right.
That's something that I would have done much earlier in my life. Right. So again, as you said, as we are as migrant children, right, we're kind of encouraged to just get that great job and get promoted and move up the ranks, and that's what success is all about. And so I kind of started my career doing all of those things, and not really connecting with what is it I really want? What is it that really brings me joy and fulfills me? And another thing that came out of that is recognizing that I did rely a lot on those external sources of validation, to make myself feel good, right? And so coming into entrepreneurship where I didn't have that, right? I didn't have my boss telling me I did a great job, right? And the next promotion as the sign that things are going well. I had to figure out, okay, what is it that really makes me feel good, and how can I create that for myself? But, to be honest, I think my whole, I believe that, every step along our journey is just helping us to get to where we need to go.
Right.
And without that whole path, I wouldn't have ended up where I am right now.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why I remain open to where I go next, where the universe sends me, where I'm directed. And because I believe we also change and grow, and the things that meant a lot to me 10 years ago are not going to be the same things that mean a lot to me 10 years from now.
Definitely. And I love what you said, because, again, it is definitely a learning curve, and we have to redefine our measures of success. And that was a huge learning for me personally as well, because if that's what you want in the corporate world, that was your success. Why didn't you stay there? And then you find yourself beating yourself up in your entrepreneurial world or your new world, because you're not getting, as you said, the same validation. So, but it's a whole different world, and you have to go back to revisit, what are your values? Why did you do the change? Why did you make that change? And how do you know you've made the right move in that change? The measures are much different. Measures very, very different.
Yeah. And for me, it's important to measure how I feel.
Yes.
Because, I had gotten to a place in banking where I would feel like there's a Bob Marley song that he sings. There's one line, he says, you think you're in heaven, but you're living in hell. Right? Wow.
Yeah.
Because I said, oh my God, I wanted for so long to be in banking. Yeah. Right. And I took all the steps to work towards getting this career in banking. And here I am. Yeah. And I'm like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Is this it?
Right. Exactly. And so for me, success is really about, how I feel, do I feel fulfilled?
Yeah.
Do I feel like I'm serving others? Do I feel like I'm continuing to grow and to learn and develop? So it's a very different definition than what I had in my 20s, for sure.
Definitely. So that would normally be my last question. What does success feel like? But you've answered that in advance, so that's fine. So, Kaylan, what advice would you share with any woman looking to make that career switch, or that career? Right now, some people are being forced to do that.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a, so I think both you and I have been quite fortunate to choose to take that step. Yes. But what advice would you share with any woman who's about to start on their transition?
I would say get to know yourself.
Yeah.
So spend time with yourself.
Yeah.
Spend time with yourself, really understanding what are the things that bring you joy. Thinking through your whole career. What were the aspects of your career that really lit you up? Yeah. Right? Was it being able to work with a team? Was it being able to serve others? Was it building relationships?
Yeah.
So understanding what are those elements of the job that you loved. Thinking also about what are your strengths?
Yeah.
Right? Because I know that, we have to, not have to, but many of us work on overcoming our weaknesses.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I do think that's important if you think it's necessary for your journey. But I don't think we spend enough time acknowledging and playing towards our strengths.
Very true.
And identifying what those are.
Yeah.
Right? Because many of us are and humility is a great strength, but we have to also recognize what we have to offer and the value that we bring.
Yeah.
And so taking time to recognize that, I would say talk to many people, so along my journey, I actually ask people, what strength did you see in me? Right? Because it was hard for me to identify my own strengths, but other people see it easily. Yeah. And so, maybe talking to friends, family, co-workers, asking them what do they see as your strengths to get a kind of a sense if you're having challenges with that. Yeah. And definitely, I would say talk to many people doing different things, because you never know what might spark an interest in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that we're all connected now. Everybody's on Zoom. You can reach out to anyone in any part of the world and arrange to have a call with them. And many people have been open. I mean, I've been surprised. I've been reaching out to random people on LinkedIn and say, I saw your post, I saw your profile, and, I would love to be able to connect and meet up with you. And I think that that's very valuable because you get a sense of what you want, but also what you don't want.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just as important.
Yeah, but I think the other beauty of switching mid-career is that, you do know yourself better. Yeah. Right? You know yourself better and what you're willing to accept and what you're absolutely no questions asked, you're not going to accept. And so I think that that's a benefit of switching at this time.
And it's an interesting thing you said, well, all of it was interesting, but you touched on humility. And it's always an issue I have because I always tell women, if we don't talk about our strengths and our successes, how are people going to learn about how good we are? Yet we're taught that to brag, to brag is not seemly. It's not, it's not the done thing. You should let the results talk themselves. But if people don't know where the results are coming from, they don't actually know who did it. So, so for me, I've never been one to be humble. It's always a challenge I've had. I think it's a great challenge. Personally, I think it's a great challenge. But yeah, I think humility does sometimes stops women from seeing their strengths and and the signs and the stuff that they could actually, what's what I'm looking at, take advantage of. Because they take it for granted. We just go along. It's expected that I need to do this, but we don't see it as a strength. So that's humility. We have a look.
And that's one of the things. I mean, that was a hurdle for me because to overcome, because I'm not like you, right? And so again, taking myself outside of myself and saying, but I can help somebody, and I have not that I just can help somebody, I have an obligation to help somebody. I have a personal responsibility to help somebody. So therefore, as you said, I have to make myself known. And that does mean talking about what I'm good at. Yeah. Fabulous. So if you had, Kaylan, if you could share with us a success quote or a mantra that maybe you use and why it's meaningful to you. One I love all the time is all is well.
Okay.
So whenever it feels like things are going in the wrong direction, the whole world is turning upside down, I'm not sure where to go, I remind myself that all is well. Right. The earth, it continues to revolve around the sun. Right? The seasons are going to continue to change. New plants are growing up outside all the time. And I am just one part of this whole big universe. And so just reminding myself of that, and also reminding myself that, every challenge that I've had in the past, it has helped me to become who I am today. Right. So even though I might be experiencing a challenge right now, this might be for my greater good, right? This might be for my comeback story, right? So just all is well.
Excellent. I love that. So we're coming down to our last couple of questions. What are the 3 things you've learned about yourself during this whole career pivot, your whole career transition?
3 things I've learned about myself. I've learned that I'm much more resourceful than I've given myself credit for. Yeah. Being able to tap into, I may not have all the answers, but, I know somebody who will know somebody who has the answers. Yes. And to me, that also makes problems seem a lot smaller when you can reach out and tap into other things. What else have I learned about myself? I've learned that my empathy is a blessing. Okay. So I've grown up being told, oh, you're so sensitive, and it was not said to me as if it was a positive trait. But it's my empathy which helps me to build my relationships.
Right.
And that has been really the key to my success throughout my career. Being able to build relationship and connect with people and to see what's not being said, right? To understand the emotion underneath it. So definitely being able to tap into that and play to that strength is important. And I think the other thing I've learned is definitely that I have a strong need to always be learning and growing and doing more. And in my career, that happened naturally because, I was promoted, I got new responsibility, I got expanded responsibility. So it was always there. But in my entrepreneurship life, right, it started off that way, right? Because there was so much to learn, right? I had to learn social media, I have to learn building a website, I have to learn how to deliver and put together programs. But then I got to a place where, it was more or less set up and it was structured and it was running, but I felt disconnected from my own business. Again, I love these sessions with my clients. I love facilitating and delivering, but I felt separate from my business. And so reminding myself that I have to keep growing and learning to keep myself motivated and excited. That's something that I absolutely need. And so that's in all aspects of my life, personal and professional.
Yeah. Well, you'll be pleased to hear that was my last question, Kaylan. But if people or the listeners want to hear more about or know more about what you do, how can they find you and connect with you?
Well, the easiest place is on LinkedIn. So you can just search for me, Kaylan Bartholomew, on LinkedIn. Or you can visit my website. It's www.spiritednatural.com.
Excellent. And I'll be sure to put that in the show notes. So Kaylan, that, as I said, was my last question. It was great interviewing today. We could have talked for hours. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and being so open with us on This Woman Can today.
And thank you so much for having me and for this work that you're doing. I think it's so important for us to share our stories. And so I'm really happy to be able to support in this way.
Thank you. And how wonderful was that conversation with Kaylan? There was so many gems. You could see me getting excited during the call or the conversation where she talked about how her identity was often entwined with who she was and working out who she was and the impact on her body. And there's so many things that we as women put in our way to stop us changing career. So I've got some help for you. I'm going to help with that because if you're thinking of changing careers, but you're really unsure of what's stopping you, and trust me, there's a myriad of things that could be doing it, and I speak from experience, then you can register for my free program, Change Your Career Without the Financial Fear, because quite often the way we talk to ourselves daily chips away at our confidence and keeps us from making that successful career transition, making that move we know we need to do. In the program, you'll discover which unconscious mind traps have been in your way, have you spinning your wheels, keeping you stuck, keeping you small, and preventing you from getting to your next chapter. You can find the link in the show notes, or you could head over to my website, janicesutherland.com, for more information, but you'll find lots more resources out there. We're there to help with your career transition. So with that said, don't forget, if I can, you can, this woman can. Take care until next time.